Dear friends, it is a real pleasure to see you at this annual International Press Conference of Ibby. The Ibby Executive Committee has already had some lengthy meetings in which we brainstormed about the vision for the viable future of Ibby and about how we can make our organization more robust. We are living in an era in which the mission of Ibby is gaining importance and relevance. We shall not hesitate to protest if this mission, initiated by Jelle Lippmann, should ever become endangered. Promoting international understanding between peoples remains our main focus, something from which we will not deviate, contrary at what some world leaders dare to state. We are living in an era in which the written word is heavily questioned. However, whenever social debate results in censoring a critical mindset or muzzling opposition, the mission of Ibby is at risk. We are living in an era in which the distinction between truth and lies is getting blurred and used to turn nations against one another. Jelle Lippmann knew this when she fought against the Nazification of children's books in the lead-up to and during the Second World War. We are living in an era in which walls are being built in order to separate nations from one another. In days gone by, nearly every city built its own wall to be able to collect taxes and avoid intruders. However, those walls were demolished, not only through time, but also because they were ineffectual in keeping others out. Opening up walls results in more opportunities for the exchange of goods and ideas. Trade increases, and this ultimately demonstrates that an inward-looking system is flawed. Through trade, the best elements of other cultures, be it culinary, scientific or social, are absorbed. The ever-expanding globalization of the world compels us to work together. International understanding between people is an absolute prerequisite for peace and prosperity. We are obligated to collaborate on trade, environmental issues, security and defense. Ultimately, we should strive towards a world where everyone prospers. On every continent, there are children on the move looking for a better life. Those children often have to live in the vilest and most degrading of circumstances. It appears that our society feels no compassion for these children as we condone the circumstances that put them in such danger in the first place. The Ibby message of promoting greater international understanding between people resounds increasingly as a consequence of this trend. As citizens of the world, we are obligated to cooperate whether we like to or not. We all want to live in prosperous countries where everyone is respected, has access to suitable social security and health care, lives in a healthy environment, has had a proper education and can enjoy culture. During the 35th Ibby Congress in Auckland in August 2016, the national sections of Ibby addressed the question of refugee children and their access to books in the context of the current global refugee crisis. Many Ibby sections around the world had already initiated projects and activities to address this crisis. Nevertheless, it was felt to be important to release a call for action to emphasize the fact that refugee children everywhere and their access to books is a major concern for Ibby members. We also want to reinforce the fact that reaching out to these children and providing them with books is an essential part of Ibby's mission. Every other year, the Ibby sections organize regional conferences, and on Thursday, Ibby will hold its first European Regional Ibby Conference here at the Bologna Book Fair. The theme is Bridging Worlds, reaching out to young refugees with books and stories. Ibby has long advocated that all children have the right to have access to great literature. Ibby also is committed to protect the right of all children in all ways. It's our duty to always treat children and young people with the respect they deserve. We believe that every child, everywhere in the world, must have access to books and the opportunity to become a reader in the fullest sense. This is a fundamental right and a doorway to empowerment for every child. Many thanks for your attention. Ibby is the only organization in the world that represents people of all disciplines from 76 countries, which are working to bring children and books together. This network means that knowledge, resources, expertise, and friendship can be shared. This page will give us an overview of recent Ibby activities.
Good afternoon. I'll just give you a brief look of some of the Ibby activities around the world, but please visit the Ibby stand, please visit the Ibby website where all of this, you can see more, this and much more. I just want to start with the Ibby Yamada program. In 2005, Ibby launched a campaign to draw attention to the right of every child to become a reader. And with the generous funding of the Yamada Bee Farm in Japan, the Ibby Yamada Fund was established to provide funds for Ibby projects that can help develop book cultures for children in all regions of the world. Each year, projects are developed by Ibby members and presented to the Executive Committee. The many projects that have been instigated by Ibby members have included reading promotion programs, establishing libraries in schools and community centres, training teachers and parents in maintaining libraries and storytelling, as well as workshops for writers, illustrators and editors of children's books. Here's just a small selection of images from the 2016 Ibby Yamada projects. These are workshops organised by Ibby Cuba, and they were directed at two groups: teachers and social family community specialists, and librarians, reading promoters and booksellers. The workshops were implemented in Sao Paulo in Brazil, Medellin in Colombia, Mexico City in Mexico, and Montevideo in Uruguay. How to recognize and select the best books for children and young adults. In Mongolia, there is no clear policy for publishing children's books or for promoting reading among young adults. Ibby Mongolia received funding to initiate the first ever policy workshops with key stakeholders in Mongolian society to discuss and agree on key policy and actionable direction for reading and publishing books in Mongolia. In Haiti, bibliotherapy. More than 25,000 refugees who arrived at border points in Haiti after being forced to leave the Dominican Republic and are now living in temporary housing. Many of these migrants are children and have no support. The Ibby Yamada Fund is supporting Ibby Haiti by providing bibliotherapy sessions for these children. In Uganda, the education system emphasizes reading to pass examinations only. Ibby Uganda, which is the Ugandan Children Writers and Illustrators Association, organized a workshop to explain, sensitize, and convince teachers and parents of the role of reading for pleasure. In addition, they also got books donated to a primary school to support the establishment of a library that would benefit the school and the community. Ibby Peru. This is a project aimed to promote the magic of reading in children from a neighborhood just south of Lima that lacks the basic services and where many children cannot read and are not even encouraged to read. With funding from the Ibby Yamada Fund in 2015, Ibby Armenia organised a workshop and a series of masterclasses for writers and illustrators with the aim of creating a book for young adults. The resulting book, shown here, with the theme of young adults and the environment, was published at the end of 2015. In a second stage, funding was obtained to organise a 3-day workshop for 10 Armenian literature translators, and then they enabled the book to be translated into English. The presentation of this book, which is a result of this project and workshop, will take place on the Ibby stand on Tuesday at 2 o'clock. Please come. The Sharjah Ibby Fund was launched in April 2012 as a joint effort of UAE Ibby and the Sharjah government. It funds projects that promote a culture of reading and provides books for children whose lives have been disrupted by war, civil disaster, or natural disasters in a region stretching from Central Asia right over to North Africa. To date, projects have been funded in Afghanistan, Iran, Lebanon, Pakistan, Palestine, and Tunisia. You can see the projects from this graphic across the region. In Afghanistan, the Sharjah Ibby Fund has provided books and storytelling to children in camps for internally displaced persons in Kabul, Herat, and Mazar-e-Sharif. The children are encouraged to read by trained reading assistants. The library assistants and storytellers and the projects also provide reading materials through mobile libraries. The project began in 2013, has continued ever since. The focus of the efforts in 2016 was on putting mobile libraries in the form of book cupboards in different locations in the Kabul province. In 2016, financing was approved for an Iranian Ibby project set up and maintain libraries in deprived sections of ethnic and religious minorities, targeting poor and deprived Iranian children in the Sistan and Baluchistan provinces. The objective is to furnish children of minority religions and ethnic groups living in remote and poor regions of Iran with appropriate and high-quality books. As Wally said, every other year, Ibby sections host regional meetings. As you can see, this is a list of the regional meetings for this year. The first European regional meeting is here in Bologna on Thursday. But we have a regional meeting at the end of the month in Argentina, in the Asia and Oceania group, in Thailand in May, in Uganda in August, and the North American meeting in Seattle in October. This is another Ibby project. In response to the waves of refugees from Africa and the Middle East arriving on the Italian island of Lampedusa, Ibby launched the project Silent Books from the World to Lampedusa and back. A collection of silent books or wordless picture books was established that could be understood and enjoyed by children regardless of language. These books were collected from Ibby national sections. A set of this book has been deposited for the documentation and research archive in Rome. A set was delivered to the library on the island of Lampedusa, and a further set is travelling exhibition. As you probably know, Ibby also has a project called International Children's Book Day. It's on the 2nd of April, which was yesterday, and this celebrates Hans Christian Andersen's birthday. And every year, a different national section of Ibby sponsors the project. They produce a poster, and they may send a message of children to the world. This year is the Ibby Russia section of Ibby. The artwork is by Mikhail Fedorov, and the message is by Sergei Makotin. Please come to the Ibby stand. We have a few of these posters on the stand for you to take. Now I'd like to hand back to Wally, the President.
Thank you, Liz. The children of Gaza are victims of serious violations of their rights as a result of the ongoing humanitarian catastrophe there. In 2012, Ibby added a new clause to its statute stating that it is committed to protect and uphold the rights of the child. The launch of this new appeal for funds to keep these libraries open and active is to give them hope and lifeline to a better future. The Palestinian section of Ibby, BBY, and Ibby will continue to organize bibliotherapy and other activities based on a creative reading that will bring some relief to these traumatized children, as well as supporting literacy. Our Ibby journal, Bookbird, aims to communicate new ideas to the whole community of readers interested in children's books. We'd like to invite next President of Bookbird Inc., Valerie Kouglen, and Björn, Sundmark editor.
Hello. I hope most of you, or all of you, are familiar with Bookbird, our journal, and our editor, Björn Sundmark. The process of editing Bookmark is quite lengthy. So although Björn has another 6 issues this year and through next year to produce, his term of office expires at the end of next year. So we need to have our new editor in place in early 2018. And with that in mind, we are now initiating the call for a new editor, or editors. It can sometimes, it is a team. Björn is a one-man, one-person phenomenon, but often we have had teams of people. So I'm not going to give you the information on it. The criteria is quite long. We require somebody or somebodies with editing experience, good knowledge of international children's books, of course a sympathetic approach and knowledge of Ibby and so on. But that information is available at the Ibby stand in Hall 29, and it can be mailed to you as well if you like to leave your email address there. So we're very sad to see Björn going, but we know he's a busy man. He's other commitments to move on to. So, and I know this is a busy press conference, so hand you over to Björn, who will tell you about the current exciting things that he's planned and is planning.
Thank you, Valerie. Well, I'm not quitting because this is a boring job. I think that I want to say a word for anyone sitting here who might be interested in becoming the editor. This is the most fantastic job that you can have. It's also a job that tends to completely engage all of your faculties. So anyone who is remotely interested in this should of course look into it more closely, and I'll be happy to answer questions, and I know that Valerie is too. I'll just hold up the last issue, but I was with a wonderful cover by François Place. And when I came into this room, I saw the motto for this Bologna conference, the natural habitat for children's literature. And I said, well, a corresponding thing could be said about Bookbird, the natural habitat for writing on children's literature. And this is actually the only children's literature journal that you need. I'm completely unbiased when I say that. Let me just say a few more words. Because, why do I say that? Well, it's because you have both the academic content and you have the articles and texts that have a wider audience, more popular-oriented texts on child readers, on institutions of children's literature. There's something for publishers, illustrators, authors, translators. We even once had a text called Dogs and Their Books. So we really have something on children's literature for everyone. And so if you have this one, everything will really be covered. I think that's, well, I should say one more thing. This is probably the only academic journal that also puts in a lot of effort to have excellent illustration material. So I think that's another added bonus with this journal. I think that was what I wanted to say. Sorry? I can't hear you. Which? And yes, all of the past 2 years' issues can be bought at a very cheap and price in our stand. And you're welcome to come there. Okay?
Thank you very much, Valerie and Björn. Our world is in turmoil. At the start of this press conference, I talked about promoting international understanding and the current tendency of building walls in order to separate nations from one another. We are now confronted by a situation that affects Ibby directly. Our colleagues in Turkey are dealing with a situation in their country that is beyond their control. However, Ibby needs to react to world events. We are not immune. So, with a really heavy heart, as Ibby president, I have to announce that the 2018 Ibby Congress that was scheduled to happen in Istanbul next September has been cancelled. I want to sincerely thank our Ibby members in Turkey to their dedication, perseverance and goodwill. They have been preparing for this event for the last 4 years. Please join me in showing our deep appreciation for their work. Thank you. As many of you know, Ibby has a 2-year cycle, and therefore the Ibby network of members still needs to meet in 2018. The Ibby Executive Committee is looking into various feasible alternatives, and we hope to announce a solution by the end of April this year. This weekend, the EC of Ibby has decided that the Ibby Congress in 2022 will be organized by Ibby Malaysia in Putrajaya from 5 September until 8 September 2022. Putrajaya is only about 30 minutes drive from the Kuala Lumpur city and is envisioned to be a modern, well-designed city. The proposed theme is the power of stories. Congratulations, Ibby Malaysia. We are looking forward to 2022. Now I would like to invite Leigh Turina to announce the new selection of outstanding books for young people with disabilities.
Sorry, I hope you can hear me. I'll also apologize for the speed in speaking. I want to show you lots of pictures of books. I'm pleased to be able to present the 2017 Ibby selection of outstanding books for young people with disabilities, and it has been a year. We received 201 submissions from 26 countries. We selected 50 examples in 17 languages from 21 countries. We're lucky to see so many good books. Now, decisions are subjective. We're always sorry when we have to turn down a publisher or a national section. It is to be remembered that we highlight examples. This is not every book about disabilities in the world. All the books chosen by national sections are outstanding. And so it's wonderful to see the countries publishing their list, sometimes their submission list, in their own country to highlight those books. If you do this, please send a link to us so that we can show other people. And we also thank the national sections for their work in providing the submissions. We're overjoyed when we see new countries coming forward with books that indicate changes in the way that society is viewing people with disabilities in that country. I make use of all of the books that I receive as submissions. I use them in class visits, I use them in outreach, in displays. All the submissions, not just the outstanding books, are cataloged in the Toronto Public Library catalog. So you will be able to view it by author, title, subject, illustrator, publisher, and language. This is an example of a class visit. We've also been asked about our standards. We don't have written standards or guidelines. Like all Ibby books, we try to find high-quality text and illustrations that tell a good story. These books may be designed or written for children with disabilities and teens, but they can be used equally by all young people. This is a list of good books, period. However, one of our necessary guidelines or outlines is dignity for the character with a disability. So I'm going to show you the first generation of books about disabilities was perhaps Tiny Tim from A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. Here he is. It was designed to inspire pity with the reader. The second generation, though, that we're moving into now, the reader sees a character with disability exactly like any other character in the book. They're well-rounded, they affect the course of action in the novel. They're not tiny secondary characters thrown in for diversity. They're not necessarily superheroes or saints either, and the reader feels a connection. One is an example. It's a free verse novel about Grace and Tippy. They are conjoined twins. They have 2 heads, 2 hearts, 4 arms, and they share a pair of legs. This is an excellent writer, Sarah Crossan, who manages to get past the disability, and that's what we seek for in books, getting past the disability to the character and what is happening in their lives. In the early Ibby collections, there were often children in wheelchairs, people who were blind, young adults with Down syndrome. But now we're receiving novels with what we might call invisible disabilities, OCD, autism, that kind of thing. But they permanently affect the way that people are able to live their lives. This is an example of one, Dépourvu. The main character has a disability because they are normal. They are normal. The whole society around them is autistic. Quite a unique book. I want to show you about Snow White. Snow White is the goat there who is knitting a monster. You can come to our booth and see it better. So that is a book that is tactile. Here you see a girl reading it in Braille. But the way the publisher would like to see us use the book is the way it is demonstrating here. In a mainstream classroom, the teacher is reading the picture book as it came out originally. The young boy is sitting with the Braille book, reading the Braille book along with him. They include a reader's guide for parents and teachers to know how to use this book. I want to show you a book by Annette Dyson, who's been writing for many years. This is a low technology example. This, and if you come to the booth, I'll show you how to use it, is an eye gaze board. For the children with multiple disabilities, all they can move, perhaps for communication, is their eyes to gaze up or down or sideways. It's like a choose your own adventure book that gives the children choices. Now, yes, we're in the age of electronic books, but one of the things that the Ibby collection has are beautiful tactile books. We have publishers, our small volunteer groups, often in Japan, those groups, who are creating tactile books for children that have really thought out the way that blind children imagine and read their books. It's very creative. So, a livre is by Les Doigts qui Rêvent, publisher. It is a book that I would think This book is better than the original print book. Come and experience it. It offers more interactive things for the reader to do. Although I'm talking a lot about technology, I am not seeing so much now in list symbolics, picture communication symbols, or sign language. Here's an example of one of the sign languages books that we received, Dessinez-moi. This is a book I would use with children from other lands, newcomers, migrants, etc., because this is a diverse classroom. Now, I just want to show you a few more examples from the collection. This is Un Hueco. This is about us, people who have lost something. We all have holes in our lives, and they stay there all our life, and that is okay. It's an example of a picture book that talks about a complex topic in a simple way. Beautiful book. Alrighty. This book is featured on our catalog. This is the universal access, our category 2. Many people don't understand this category. It tends to be books from mainstream publication that are good for everyone, universal access, but particularly those people with developmental delay, learning disabilities. Or it just happens to be a universal topic, like this book. You have to laugh. It's called A Real Story of Picking One's Nose. There you go. Many of the books in this collection are wordless picture books. And then again, I want to tell you, these are the books you should be using with immigrants, migrants, asylum seekers, and people new to the language of your country. This is El Soldadito. And it's the Steadfast Tin Soldier. This year we saw something I've never seen before, simultaneous publication in many countries by Björn from the UK. 3 countries submitted me books from DK Braille, and you should come and see them. It's interesting to see mainstream publishers presenting Braille and text together. Those are the sticky worms. Excellent. I have some very special characters in our collection. One is 2 boys in Australia who do lots of PlayStation video games and skateboarding. Their new friend in an electronic wheelchair with cerebral palsy can do PlayStation but not skateboarding. Let me read you the back of the book. 3 mates, a beat-up old couch, a couple of skateboards, and a steep hill. What could possibly go wrong? It did. For Italy, I want to show you a graphic novel, and this is just to let those of us who are getting older in here know that you can still save the world in your bedroom slippers and walker. It's true. This is El Defo. Cece has a new hearing aid. It works so well that she can hear the teachers in the bathroom. She feels she is a superhero with superpowers, and she calls herself El Depo. My last slide is about Lucia, who's in her wheelchair. It's one of the first books I have seen of, it's a board book for very young children, 2, 3, 4 years of age. She's in a wheelchair. She's very spunky and quite good. And I want to say we have moved a long way from Tiny Tim when we get here to see Lucia. So I'd like to ask you to go online to look at this catalog or come and receive a copy at our booth. Thank you.
Many thanks, Leigh, for your wonderful work. Would like to invite Fred Minn to announce the NAMI Concours 2017.
Okay, good afternoon. Yeah, I'd like to just give you a quick overview of the Nami Island International Children's Book Festival. Okay, here on the screen you can see the summary of the festival. The festival will be held on the theme of the Imagine Your Fairy Tale Island. It will be held throughout the month of May, and it will be attended by 500,000 people who will be visiting the island during that time. So there will be various programs you see. And the highlight of the festival will be the NAMI Concours, the award ceremony for the NAMI Concours, which has really established itself as the premier international competition in children's book illustration. On May 14th, the Ibby representatives and ambassadors and the judges and the delegation from over 20 countries will come to join the celebration and congratulate the winners. In addition, there will be various exhibitions, performances, seminars, and hands-on activities which are all interconnected in such ways to enhance and to promote the international understanding through children's books. Okay, and this is our children's library, which we call the book playground. Last but not least, we'll have also the inauguration ceremony for the Hans Christian Andersen Hall, which is the picture book center themed around the Hans Christian Andersen. It will feature books and illustrations by 2016 Hans Christian Andersen Award winners, Kawan Xuan and Rutra Susan Berner, as well as books by the 2016 nominees. Also showcased will be the story of the Yellow Leopman, as well as the Yellow Leopman medal itself, which Nami Island was awarded in 2014 at the Ibby Congress in Mexico. Just to remind everyone that the ideas of the Yellow Leopman, as well as the fairy tales of the Hans Christian Andersen, will be coming to life in the form of a children's book festival every 2 years on Nami Island. So I hope you can come, and so everybody's welcome. So please stay tuned. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Fred. I would like to invite Patricia Aldana, jury president, to announce the Hans Christian Andersen Award jury and nominees.
Good afternoon. It's my great honor and pleasure first to thank Nami Island, who is our sponsor for the Hans Christian Andersen Award and which has made a huge difference to our ability to promote the award, make it better known, and every year we will try and use the funding that they've just so generously given us to make the award more and more famous. And so thank you, Nami Island. Please. One of the things that distinguishes this prize from any other prize in the world is its diverse jury. I don't think there is another book prize in the world which is composed of a jury that's from so many different countries, and this is the second time I will have chaired this prize, and one of the things that was so much fun and so exciting and interesting for all of us was how people from all around the world both share and disagree about things, except for in the end, which are the best books and which are the authors and illustrators we really fell in love with. So I'd like to present the new jury, which you can see in the flyer that's available in the Ibby stand. Denis Beznosov, who's very young and male, quite rare, from Russia. Yasuko Doi from Japan, Reina Duarte from Spain, Andrei Ilch from Slovenia. Last year he was the only man and he called himself, "I'm Mr. 10%, he kept saying to us. Now there's going to be 20% men. Eva Kaliskami from Greece, Shireen Krediev from Lebanon, Maria Beatriz Medina from Venezuela, Yasmin Motawi from Egypt, Lola Rubio from Argentina, Junko Yokota from the US, and we're assisted, of course, by Elda Nogueira, who is there representing the president of Ibby, and by the wonderful Ibby staff. And this is really, it's something everyone should be able to do sometime in their life, is to participate in talking about books for 3 days with such an incredibly interesting jury. There are the nominees we have this year. 35 countries have nominated people for the prize, 33 authors, 28 illustrators. We are going to be putting not only the names of the nominees, but every nominee is going to have the page which the nominating national sections have written about that nominee. They're all going to be on the Ibby website very shortly. It's an honor to be nominated to the Andersen Prize, and we would really hope that the nominees are promoted. We will announce the shortlist in January of next year, and we will, Nami Island helped us to make a great film of the shortlisted winners that we hope to have even sooner this year. And then, of course, we will announce the winners at next Bologna. So a lot of work to be done by the jury, who are just starting. This year we have only 5 books from each country. Want to make it as fair as possible. And all the material has been submitted electronically. And then the jury will spend time with the real books at the actual jury meeting. And this seems to be working very well. So let's have good luck for the nominees and good work for the jury. Thank you very much, and thank you, Nami Island.
Betsy will continue with the announcement of the Ibby auction for children in crisis in Central America.
Sorry, you have to have me twice. As you know, Children in Crisis is one of Ibby's great passions, and there are 500 million children this year, according to UNICEF, in extreme danger in the world, the largest number since the Second World War, of children who are either extremely hungry and without a home, who are refugees and are really suffering. And we have to take care of these children wherever we can. We have to. That's our human obligation. There is a project that deals with children from the 3 northern Central American countries, known as the Northern Triangle, which are now 3 of the 5 most dangerous countries peacetime countries in the world, with very high homicide rates, like 100 homicides per 100,000 people, whereas most countries have 2 or 3 homicides per 100,000. Children are very heavily caught up in this situation. They are leaving Central America, going up through Mexico, where they're being detained or kidnapped or raped or murdered. And 30% of these children are girls, and 20% are under 12. They're often going with human traffickers. Their parents have paid a lot of money. Their extortions take place on the road. Then they arrive at the United States, and as you all know now, the chances of being allowed to stay and become official refugees are virtually none at this point. And so they're returned to countries that have no capacity to take care of them. Ibby and Reforma, who are the librarians in the United States who work with people who speak Spanish, have been having a project now for about 4 years, working with them, bringing them books. At first, we were trying to help them become refugees in the United States, help them to access library services. The American Library Association has been great about helping these children to become readers, but now we have decided that the best thing we could do for them is to do as much work as we can in their own countries so they won't leave, and make sure that they can work becoming readers. There's a wonderful example, a library built in Salvador by the author of this book, which is being used very heavily by children every day. It's become the school library for some of the schools that are in this very gang-infested area where the library is. The illustrator of this book, Alfonso Ruano, who is the great former art director of SM, a great illustrator, very well known to many of you, has donated all the art from this book because he said it made him feel more human, for an auction to raise funds for this project. So if you go on the Ibby website, you can see all the art and its dimensions, what size they are, these beautiful pictures of refugee children. And we're having the auction. It's on the website right now, and it closes at 6:30 on Wednesday afternoon. So at 6:30 on Wednesday afternoon, the highest bids, those people will have the art. The artists here, SM, have brought the art here to the fair. If you purchase it while you're here, you can take it home with you. If you buy it online and you're somewhere else, we will get it to you. But this is an opportunity to support the project for the Central American children. And I think Alfonso, I would like us to thank Alfonso Ruano, who's way too shy to be here, for his very generous contribution of work for this auction. And please bid a lot, and you'll be very proud of having these pictures. They're very, very beautiful. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Patsy. We would like to invite you to the reception with drinks and international biscuits and cookies at the Ibby stand, Hall 29A51. We are looking forward to meeting you there. Thank you very much.